Once upon a time, in the early days of World War II, there was a base that officially did not exist. The year was 1941. America was not yet at war, but a man named Brigadier General Simon Buckner sat in his office in Alaska, staring at maps of the Pacific. He saw something that others did not see. He saw the Japanese coming. He saw them taking the Aleutian Islands, those scattered specks of land stretching toward Asia. And from those islands, he saw them bombing Seattle. So Buckner made a decision. A dangerous decision. A decision that could have landed him in prison. He decided to build a secret base on an island called Umnak. There was just one problem. His superiors in Washington said no. They did not believe the Japanese would come that far. They refused to authorize the construction. But Buckner was not a man who took no for an answer. He began diverting supplies from other projects. He stockpiled steel matting for runways, fuel, ammunition, all under the noses of his superiors. And he gave his secret project a fake name. He called it the Blair Fish Packing Company. In March of 1942, hundreds of Army engineers arrived on Umnak Island. They wore civilian clothes, so even the locals would not suspect anything. They began building an airfield on an island that had no trees, nothing but volcanic rock and freezing fog. The weather was their worst enemy. Summer brought cold fog that never lifted. Winter brought 18 inches of snow, then wind that covered everything with dirt. The men lived in tents, winterizing them with canvas and plywood, huddling around small coal burners just to stay alive. A young man named Stuart Faber arrived in August of 1942. He had enlisted after Pearl Harbor, expecting to see action. Instead, he found himself on a frozen island at the edge of the world, eating Spam for months on end. After living on Spam for a few months, one of the guys caught a mess of fish. Faber later remembered. The cook told us whoever cleaned them could eat them. That was a good day. When spring came, the ice melted and left the roads axle-deep in mud. Transportation stopped completely. Faber and 3 others had been sent ahead to prepare for the arriving aircraft. Once that job was done, they sat waiting for someone to remember them. "I guess they forgot us," Faber said. "We sat there for about 2 months. We weren't sure we'd ever get home." To keep busy, they turned the beach into a shooting range. They made the best of it, working hard and trying to entertain themselves when they weren't working. There wasn't much else to do out there. Then, in June of 1942, the Japanese attacked Dutch Harbor. 43 Americans died. Dutch Harbor became one of the only places on the North American mainland to be bombed by Japanese aircraft. And suddenly, the secret base on Umnak was not a secret anymore. Once the Japanese saw it was there, Faber said, there was no point in keeping it a secret. American planes rose from that hidden runway, fighting back against the Japanese advance. The Allies would eventually push the Japanese from the Aleutians, and some historians say that remote, frozen conflict marked the turning point of the Pacific War. Today, the base on Umnak is largely forgotten. The wind still blows across that volcanic island. The fog still rolls in from the sea. But the men who served there, the ones who built a secret base with their bare hands and survived on Spam and fish, they knew what they had done. Stuart Faber kept his experience in perspective. "That was tough duty," he said. "When it was my time, I was ready to head home. But I have some pretty good memories of my times in the Aleutians. The base that did not exist helped save a continent. And the men who built it proved that sometimes the greatest acts of courage happen far from the spotlight, in the cold and the fog at the edge of the world."